Hi, this is Thomas Feng with Bay Area Connect. This week we will be talking about one of the many fears that home buyers have in this market, and that is price. With the past housing recession, a lot of home buyers are worried about price and how the new market has changed. Many are wondering if the price has hit the bottom, or if it still has lower down to go, or if it's coming back up. Well, we can't really predict what will happen in the future in this new housing market. We could talk about the trends that has been going on through this market. I just want to pull up some numbers for the Santa Clara County. The average listing price right now is $1,116,000, which is up 18% from last year. The February average sales price is $708,000, which is up 28% from last year. And the total number of homes for sale, or the inventory, is 2,406, which has dropped down 52% from last year. What we can see from these numbers is that the average listing price and sales price have risen through this market. Also, we can see that the inventory has dropped, which makes it a little harder to find homes in this challenging new market. The numbers that I've just quoted are for Santa Clara County, and if you would like a report for your own city, whichever that may be, please send us an email. Today we wanted to also talk about price versus interest. We do know that the price is a big factor. However, chances are you'll never really pay off the entire price over a 30-year loan. Something a little more real is probably the interest rate, which we'll have Joe Lima of Princeton Capital to talk about today.
Thanks, Thomas. Well, you were talking about trends. We can go back to a trend as far as interest rate goes as well. About 18 months ago, when the economy started to take a slide, the Federal Reserve stepped in and started taking more control and getting more heavily involved with the mortgage markets than they already were. Now, because of that, they started to buy up a lot of the mortgage-backed securities on Wall Street. What that did was create a very low trend in interest rates, lowest we've seen since the 1950s. Right now we're hovering around 5% for a 30-year fixed loan on most loans. Now, because the economy is starting to pick back up, and you mentioned some trends as far as the housing prices starting or looking to maybe like they pick back up, the Federal Reserve is now starting to wean off and not be as heavily inundated with the mortgage market as they are now. So by the end of March, we're looking at them to not buy as many securities, which is going to cause a rise in interest rates. A lot of analysts are out there saying that it's going to be a rise anywhere between a quarter to a full interest rate percent. So that means someone's buying something at 5 versus a 6%. So an example of this, a buyer coming in and making $100,000 a year, looking to put 20% down on the property, and has other debt, an auto payment, let's say, of $500. That person could qualify for a house that costs $590,000, and that's at a 5% mortgage. If it shoots all the way up to 6% by the end of the year, then that person, same scenario, same person comes in, and now has a 6% mortgage, can buy a house for $540,000, difference of $50K.
Okay, so what I've heard from Joe is that although we can't really predict what will happen in the future, the market seems that it's changing. Interest rates will probably jump from 5% to 6%, and if this becomes a reality for this average person coming in from $590,000 to $540,000 loses that potential buying power of $50,000. Another change that will be affected by the interest rate is how much you'll be paying over the life of the loan. Per every 0.25% change up over a 30-year loan, the borrower will have to pay $6,000 for every $100,000 financed. So if that percentage were to jump by 1%, the interest rate, you would be paying $24,000 extra per $100,000 borrowed. So talking about all these changes in the market, combined with the low interest rates at the moment and building home prices, let's talk about another factor that could be prevalent for the first-time home buyer, and that would be the home buyer tax credit.
Yeah, it's a very good point. It adds on to another advantage for now being a good time to buy. The first-time homebuyer tax credit, you do have to get into contract on a home by April 30th and close the total loan out and the property out by June 30th of this year. What that'll do is enable you, when you file for your 2010 taxes, to get up to an $8,000 tax credit. A little more specific on it, it is eligible for first-time home buyers. They have not owned a residence in the previous 36 months. And they also, for single tax filers, they cannot have more than $125,000 of income. And for someone that's a joint filer, filing with a spouse, they cannot have more than $225,000 in income in order to qualify for that. If that's something that you meet that criteria or need more specifics on, go ahead and contact myself or Thomas on it.
Okay, so to recap what Joe just said, the homebuyer tax credit is coming to a close fairly soon. And to qualify for that, you need to be a first-time homebuyer, buying a home that will be owner-occupied and not make more than $125,000 when filing separately or $225,000 when filing jointly. Well, that's it for this week on Bay Area Connect. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below or send us an email at yourbayareaconnect@gmail.com.